Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to today's edition of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel, watching the video out. Always very grateful for that. And guys, today we're going to be talking about how to work and how to retrieve a lipless crankbait. It's just not as simple as what it seems. A lot of people think you just cast it out and reel it in, but there's a lot of different retrieves that you can use on this to really help generate more strikes. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Also guys, quick reminder, anyone out there interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, you can do that by going to my Facebook page, Randy Blockett Professional Angler. Just shoot me a private message and I'll give you all the info for that. Okay guys, the lipless crankbaits, man, one of the most effective bass catchers of all time. I'll give you a little history behind this. I sort of like to do this. When these things first came out back in the 70s, there used to be one my dad and I would use called the swimming minnow, and it was a rudimentary lipless crankbait. And back then, the only way that people fished a lipless crankbait is to troll them for like white bass. People didn't use them for largemouth fishing. But after the years, like these Megabass Vibration X's, they've got more color patterns, different profile changes, and they're excellent bass catchers. And also guys, this is my favorite lipless. This is the Megabass Vibration X. And I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description to this if you guys would like to order a couple of these. These are just excellent lipless crankbaits here. I love them. But anyway, excuse me, I wanted to get into a little bit about how to retrieve a lipless crankbait, because it's a reaction strike, or it's a reaction bite, a reaction bait that creates a reaction strike through the fact that most of the time they're retrieved at different speeds, but most people associate fishing these things at a fairly fast speed for it to get a reaction strike. You know, and there's some got rattles in them like this, some are silent, but they're designed to trigger strikes from active and inactive fish depending upon how you retrieve it. So I wanted to go over with you guys my favorite type of retrieves, the way that I like to fish it to generate the strikes. And this is totally dependent upon a lot of different variables, the type of cover you're fishing, water clarity, water temperature, depth, all that type of stuff. So we're gonna go through some basic retrieves. My first one, guys, my first retrieve that I use is just the basic retrieve. It's like you just cast it out there and you just start reeling it in like a medium fast retrieve. And the angle of your rod tip depends upon the water depth. Obviously, when you cast it out there and if the water's shallow and you don't want to hit the bottom, keep your rod tip high. If you're trying to get the bait down a little bit, just put it down closer to the water and just reel with a medium fast retrieve. That's a really good way to catch them most of the time. It's serviceable, but it's not the best way all the time. A couple different ways that I really like to fish it that have generated bigger fish for me. Normally, a lot of times, the way that I just talked about there, unless you're fishing over grass beds, that's not a way to catch quality fish. This is the way to catch quality fish right here. Is when you cast it out there, cast it out, let it go to the bottom, and once it hits the bottom, start slow reeling. And that bait, when you're slow reeling it off the bottom, it starts to come up like that a little bit. And if you feel it getting off the bottom too much, just let the bait fall back down to the bottom and just start reeling slow again like that. Just keeping it close to the bottom. And this thing fished a little bit slower, just along the bottom or just off the bottom like that, is a excellent way to catch big pre-spawn bass. The biggest limit of bass I ever caught in my life was in March with that technique on a lipless crankbait, just fishing it slow off the bottom. Now this is gonna work if you got a couple different conditions. First of all, you need water temperatures that are in the 50s. This is like a pre-spawn technique with there, and you need to have water visibility of anywhere between, say, 2.5 to 4 foot. Under those conditions there is going to be really good for it. Another thing about lipless crankbaits, I'll tell you guys before we get into the other retrieves, is a lipless crankbait is a really good lure regardless of the weather patterns that you have. A lot of lures that you have, they're specific to different weather patterns, whether it be wind, cloud, sun, all that type of stuff. But a lipless, based upon how you work it, you can catch them on cloudy, rainy days, bright bluebird days. You can catch them on windy days, on calm days. It's a really, really versatile bait to catch fish in a lot of different conditions out there. Post-front, pre-front, all that type of stuff. Okay, but the third one, you got the straight retrieve like I talked about. And with the straight retrieve, guys, also, I'll use stop and go a little bit. It's not like I just reel it constantly. Sometimes I'll mix it up and, half turn. But the third way I like to fish it, beyond the slow rolling technique I just talked about, is cast it out there, let it hit the bottom, and just pump it off the bottom. Just don't reel it, just let it hit the bottom, and then just pump it off the bottom. Take up your slack, let it go back down to the bottom, pump it off the bottom. And what happens is this thing's falling to the bottom, and when you pump it, it comes up high and then slowly falls back down, comes up high, slowly falls back down. This is an excellent way to catch fish on a lipless crankbait. A lot of people don't do it. And the strike usually occurs two ways. You cast it out there, you pump it up like that and you let it fall. Sometimes your line will just jump like that and you got the fish. Other times when you pump it up like that, as it goes up, the fish will grab it and you just pump it up and it's just there and you set the hook on it. But those are the three main things, guys. Just a traditional medium fast retrieve, stop and go, slow rolling it close to the bottom, and then pumping it off the bottom. Those are three ways to catch them. Doesn't really matter what type of cover you're fishing. I've used this technique in grass, rock, whatever. That's just the three primary techniques. So anyway, mix it up a little bit. Don't just throw it out there and reel it in. It definitely will generate a lot more strikes. And if I look at all the success I've had on a lipless crankbait, most of the awesome days I've had on it have been slow rolling it or pumping it, not just reeling it in, if that gives you any type of a gauge to go by. So hope it helps out, guys. And also check out my Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you guys want to order some of these, and we'll talk later.